What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video we'll be differentiating from the first principle, the function that you see there. Now this one is a bit different. Before you differentiate this one, you first need to simplify this one. But before we start, I've been doing videos on trigonometry, limits, and also differentiation from the first principle. So if you want to watch those videos, especially on trigonometry and limits, you can go to the playlist and watch them. I put them in a playlist according to their topics. Now, as for differentiating from the first principle, this is part 6 of this playlist. You can watch the whole playlist at the end of this video. It appears at the end of this video. You can click on it and can watch it in a sequence so that you can able to understand all the parts that are appearing there. Right, guys, now if you are new to this channel, probably you don't know, this is how we do it. You first pause the video and then you try to solve this problem. Then after solving the problem, then you can continue watch the video and see whether you manage to get the answer the way I got it or according to this video here. So you can pause and do this problem and see if you're gonna get the same answer. Now let's start. Remember, we need to change this function so that it can be easy for us to use the formula. Well, remember when they say, guys, you must differentiate from the first principle, there's a formula that you must use, and we cannot use this formula or this equation on this function here. So we need to simplify this function. How do we do that? We need to get rid of the surds and the exponents. They should be on the numerator. So let's continue. Now when we simplify this is going to be f of x, and then we have 1 over, now we have this 2 here, but then how can we change this cubed root to exponent? So remember, this cube root, it's only for x, so whatever that you're going to change is going to only affect x. This 2 is not part of it, guys. Right, so we know this is going to be 1 then over 3. All right, so 1 over 3 is the same as cube root x. Right, so I hope you know that. Remember, these are exponents from your exponents studies there. All right, so from here we need to take this x on the denominator and put it on our numerator. So if we continue simplifying it, f of x here is gonna give us 1 over 2. Remember this 1 over 2 here, multiply by, now if we take this x from the denominator and then we put it on numerator, the exponent of that x is going to be negative. So it's going to be 1 over 3. So it's going to be negative 1 over 3, our exponent here. So guys, remember, whenever you take the base and you took it to the numerator, the exponent changes the sign. So because this 1 over 3 was positive, when our base is going to the numerator, it's going to be negative. So if this exponent was negative, this was going to be positive when it goes to the numerator. I hope you understand that one, guys. Right, besides, this is your exponents from your earlier studies. Right, so let's continue. So from here, now we can say this is our f of x. So whenever we're gonna substitute our formula, this is gonna be our f of x. This one here is the f of x that we're going to substitute to our formula when we are differentiating, guys. Whenever we are differentiating, we're gonna substitute this f of x. Let me just erase this red line here, guys. Okay, let me just erase this red line because I thought I was gonna be able to set it back, but it's fine. We're gonna fix it. Okay, let's fix it. Right, this is gonna be 2, and that is x, and that is also x. So this is f of x. All right, so remember, guys, remember this is your f of x. So now the formula that we use to differentiate from the first principle is f prime of x. Then don't forget that we have limit and then h approaches 0. So this is equaling to, let's do the formula. So the formula is supposed to look like this: f of x plus h minus f of x. All this is divided by 0. Remember, h is approaching 0. Divided by h. Remember, h is approaching 0, guys. Okay, please don't put 0 yet here, because we need to simplify this. We need to substitute and work on this. So don't forget this f of x that you see here. Let me just this f of x that you see here, you're gonna substitute with this one here. So be very, very careful, guys, when we do that. All right, so let me just erase this very quickly. All right, so now let's try to find f of x plus h. By the way, guys, if you don't understand this formula, because this formula we're going to use it to differentiate from the first principle, there is a video here on the icon. Please go and watch that video so that you can understand how to use this formula here, f of x prime. All right, so I hope you will able to do that as well. Okay, let's continue, guys. Let's continue. Now as we continue, we need to find our f of x plus h. So let me just create a line that will help us to be able to do our f of x plus h. So this side here we have f of x plus h. Now f of x plus h, basically we take our f of x, wherever there's f of x, wherever there is x, we substitute by x plus h. So remember, this is now our new f of x, the one that is simplified. So we just have to use this one. So we know that we have half. All right, this is 1 over 2 multiplied by, now when you multiply, let me just put a dot here to symbolize multiply. Look at our x. Our x is this one here. So wherever there is x, we substitute by x plus h. Now look at our exponent there. Our exponent is going to be negative 1 over 3. So this is going to be our f of x plus h, but we need to simplify it, and then we need to expand it. As you can see, guys, whenever you see the exponent in this manner, as you can see, our exponent here is negative 1 over 3. We don't have a choice but to use the binomial theorem. Guys, I have to be honest with you, this problem is going to take us a little bit longer to solve it. So I need you to brace yourself, guys, because you have to pay attention, and let's try not to make mistakes, because mistakes can be done here. Now this formula here, the binomial theorem, unfortunately I've made a video about the binomial theorem, so you can go to this icon again. You will also see the video about binomial theorem where we expand an expression similar to this. I'm going to do it here anyway, but if you want to know it into details, you go and watch this video. If you have done that, if you have done so already, it's fine. Let's just continue from here. So let's continue, guys. So usually I write the formula of the binomial theorem, and I always suggest that you expand this to the fourth term. Now let's do it. So the formula for binomial theorem, it's going to be like this. We know that we have we know that we have x plus h to the power of n. Now the first term, when we expand, is going to be x to the power of n, and then the second term is going to be n multiplied by x to the power of n minus 1. That is the second term, now multiplied by h. All right, don't forget the h. I tend to forget the h sometimes, so don't forget it. And then the third term now is going to be n, right? And then it's going to be n minus 1, and then the factorial is divided by 2 factorial. Do not forget this as well. And this time around, x is going to be the power of n minus 2 and h to the power of 2. That will be our third term. And then our fourth term, we should stop on the fourth term, guys. If you want to expand, whenever they say differentiate from the first principle and you find yourself with an expression like this one here, where binomial theorem is supposed to be used, expand it to the fourth term and stop right there. You don't need to go further, because you will be wasting your time. So the fourth term is going to be n, and then we have n minus 1, and then n minus 2. All this is divided by factorial 3, all right, or 3 factorial. All right, so from there we know that this is going to be x n minus 3, and then we have h to the power of 3. Guys, stop on the fourth term. Please do not go further than that. You'll be wasting your time. By the way, if it so happens that you don't know where this binomial theorem is coming from, there is a video. Go and watch this video here, guys. There is a video here. Go and watch it so that you don't get confused, my good people. But if you've watched it, then that's good. Now I would say to you, look at our f of x plus h here. As you can see, inside the bracket we have x plus h, so we can say whenever we substitute, we have, where there is x, we're gonna put x. So x is equal to x. Remember, the x here is the same as the x there. We are fine. And then h is also the same as h, so we also find an n. Unfortunately, it's going to be something different. It's going to be negative 1 over 3. Now let me just show you what do I mean by that. As you can see, this is going to be based on this here, guys, right? So we know that our x here is x, and then our h is h, but our n is going to be negative 1 over 3. And as you can see, when we substitute here, we must be able to substitute the right values on our formula where we expand. So guys, I need you to pay more attention, and this might take longer, but it's very important, because if this comes in your exam or during the test, you must be able to know how to solve this, and it contains a lot of marks, this type of a problem. Right, now let's continue. Now it's time for us to actually expand the actual f of x. Okay, so we have x plus h, remember, to the power of negative 1 over 3. Now let's expand this one, guys. Remember, the first term is going to be x, so remember x is the same as x, but our n is going to be negative 1 over 3. There we go. This is our first term, guys. This is our first term, and then plus our second term. Let's put it plus here. Our second term is n. So what is our n? Let me just put it in our bracket there. Let me just do this. Oh, it doesn't look so good. Let me erase this very quickly. All right, let me just write it in a nice way, guys. So we're gonna have a bracket, so we're gonna have negative 1 over 3. That is our n. Okay, let me just not forget the negative. This is our n there, but we do have x, so our x here is gonna be n, which is negative 1 over 3 minus 1. So this is going to be minus 1, and then multiplied by h. So our h is just h, so we are fine. This is the second term. All right, okay, now let's go to the third term. I hope we're gonna have enough space here, guys, because this looks a bit complicated. All right, let's look at the third term. We have n, so our n here, remember, our n is negative 1 over 3, and then we put it in a bracket and multiply by n minus 1. So in the bracket again, we're gonna have negative 1 over 3 minus 1, and then we put all this in the bracket, and then this is divided by factorial 2, or 2 factorial, right? So this is the one, and then we have our x. Our x here is gonna be negative 1 over 3 minus 2. As you can see, this is the one, multiplied by h to the power of o. I don't know what's happening here, guys. Just fix this very quickly. All right, multiplied by h to the power of 2. All right, so this is our third term. Honestly speaking, you can stop at the third term, but I don't find it to be more safer. So let's open up the space and do our fourth term, and then we continue. All right, plus now let's go to our fourth term. Remember, our fourth term we have n, Remember, our n, do not forget, is 1 over 3, but it's supposed to be minus, and then close bracket, and in our second bracket, which is going to be negative n, which is negative 1 over 3 minus 1. Right, and then we have another bracket, which is the third bracket, which is going to be negative 1 over 3. This time around it's going to be minus by 2, and then all these divide by 3 factorial. All right, and then we have x to the power of negative 1 over 3 minus 3, and we have h to the power of 3. Guys, I know this can be a bit complicated, but we have to do it anyway so that we can able to get the right answers. Okay, so we can able to get the right answers. Now let's continue. Let's do it so that it doesn't look funny. Let me create more space here, guys. Create more space. Get rid of this. Okay, let's create more space. All right, this is the space. Let me just, there we go, guys. Let's continue. Let's write. So we have the following here. So we're gonna have x plus h, and then to the power of negative 1 over 3. All right, before we continue, let me just highlight this x plus h. What exactly is this x plus h? Remember, this one here, guys, this one, just like our previous video, is the same as is the one that we are busy with right now. Okay, there's no multiply by 2, the 1 over 2. So basically this is what we are busy with. Then afterwards we're gonna multiply by half. So let's look at the first term. Well, the first term, you just write it as it is, no problem. You're gonna have x to the power of negative 1 over 3. So we are fine. What about the next one? Now, before you write the sign, let's look at this negative 1 over 3. Is there any other term that is multiplied with a different sign? No. So meaning here we're gonna have negative. So our negative is gonna be negative. Let me just write it like this. It's gonna be x, and then what is negative 1 over 3 minus minus 1. So our exponent there is going to be minus 4. And just put minus here, and then over 3. There we go. Multiply by h. Okay, let me just put the multiplication here. This one can confuse you, but don't forget that we still have that 3 there. So divide by 3 plus. Now let's go to, let's not put plus there, guys. Let's not put plus. Remember, we need to find out whether this is negative or positive. Okay, let me just do this. So let's see. If we say on this bracket here we have negative, so it's gonna multiply whatever that is inside this bracket, but we have negative 1 over 3 minus negative 1. This, in this bracket, we're gonna have negative and negative. So this negative, when they multiply, they're gonna give you positive. So this is gonna be positive. There we go. But then I would advise you guys to put everything that you see here from here to there to the calculator. What I'm saying is put open bracket negative 1 over 3 close bracket multiplied by open bracket negative 1 over 3 minus 1 close bracket divide by 2 factorial. Put that on the calculator and you will get the answer. So when I put that on the calculator, I actually get 9 over 2. So it's gonna be positive it's gonna be positive 2 over 9, not 9, guys. It's gonna be positive 2 over 9. Then what about our x and h there? So if you say, okay, obviously this is gonna be our x, but the power there, then what is it? 1 over 3, negative 1 over 3 minus 2. What is it that you're going to get? So you're gonna get negative 7 over 3. All right, then with the multiplication of h to the power of 2. Yeah, I know this is a bit complex, guys, but you have to do it. Now let's look at this last term here, the fourth term. Before we put the sign, we know that we have negative 1 over 3 multiplied by negative 1 over 3 minus 1. So we know that this bracket is going to be negative, and this one is going to be negative, and this one we have negative 1 over 3 minus 2. This is going to be negative. So whatever the answer, when you multiply here, it's going to be negative multiplied by negative, which is going to give us positive, multiplied by another negative. So this is going to give us negative. So we're going to subtract here. So, but anyway, I would say to you, put all this on your calculator. Put all this on your calculator. So how do you do it? You say open bracket, negative 1 over 3 close bracket, multiplied by open bracket, negative 1 over 3 minus 1 close bracket, and then open bracket, negative 1 over 3 minus 2 close bracket, and all this divided by 3 factorial. And then when you get the answer it should give you 7 over 81. There we go. All right, some of you might have a problem on how to insert the factorial sign on your calculator. It's really not that difficult. The factorial sign is you press alpha, then you press the button with x to the power of -1, then it will appear on your calculator, guys. Right, now let's look at x. So what's gonna be x to the power of? We have -1 over 3 minus 3. What do you think the power is going to be there? If you put that on the calculator, it's going to be minus 10 to the power of 3. Double check there, guys, and then we know that this is going to be h cubed. Right, so as we can see, it looks very complex. It's not really that complex, it's just long, but it's not really that complicated, guys. It's just long, and yes, you can be confused if you don't know how to use this formula. All right, so this is x plus h, is really not f of x. Remember, your f of x plus h is gonna be let me just erase it here, guys. Your f of x plus h is gonna be something else. It's gonna be, let's look at this. The f of x plus h, it is multiplied by half. So as you can see, this one here, the one that we just did, it's only x plus h to the power of -1 over 3. So the one that I highlighted with yellow there, so this is the one. So now if we want to do f of x plus h, we have to multiply by half. So let me just write it here, guys. Bear with me here, guys. This is gonna be a bit longer, but we don't have a choice. We have to do it. F of x plus h. If we have to go back, let's go back. F of x plus h, do not forget we have half here, so meaning everything here must be multiplied by that half. So let's go and let's do it. Let's go and do it. Now let me open space. So we know that we're gonna have half as we speak here, and then everything here is gonna be inside the bracket. So we're gonna have x to the power of -1 over 3 minus, and then we're gonna have this minus should be down there, man. It's gonna confuse us. Okay, and then we have minus, let me put it here, minus, and then we have x to the power of -4 over 3 multiplied by h. Right, this is divided by 3. There we go. And then we have plus, and now we have 2, and then we have x to the power of -7 over 3 multiplied by h to the power of 2. All this is divided by 9, and then we have minus 7. Right, 7, and then we have x to the power of -10 to the power of -10 divided by 3 and multiplied by h to the power of 3, and this is divided by 81. All right, guys, let's be very careful when you do this one. And then from here, what you're going to do is we're just gonna multiply by half throughout. So if we multiply by half throughout, let me just right here, because we need to remember that this is f of x plus h. So if you multiply by half throughout, this is going to be x to the power of negative 1 over 3 divided by 2. So this one we are fine. And minus, now if you say 2, let's start. If you say 1 multiplied by a numerator here, it's going to be exactly x to the power of negative 4 over 3 multiplied by h. Remember, is multiplied by this one on the numerator, but on the denominator we have 2 multiplied by 3, so this is gonna give us 6. There we go. And then we say plus, because we have plus here. So if you say 1 multiplied by the numerator, which is 2. All right, we have to be careful here, guys. Let's be careful. If you can see here, we have this 2 on the numerator. If you multiply by half, this 2 outside the bracket and this 2 on our third term, they're gonna divide each other. They're gonna give you 1. So basically that 2 and that 2, they divide each other. You're left with only 1 here. So we're gonna have x to the power of negative 7 over 3h squared over, now we have 9. You can also say half multiplied by 2 over 9. You're gonna get 1 over 9. So the last one, which is gonna be the last one here, which is gonna be 7 multiplied by 1, which is going to give us 7, and then 81 multiplied by 2, which is going to give us I think is going to give us a very big number, 162. But here's the thing, guys, here's the thing. Oh yeah, what's happening here? Oh yeah. All right, so this is going to give us guys, let me see before I make mistakes. Oh, I made a mistake here, guys. This was supposed to be 14. Oh gosh, this was supposed to be 14, guys. Oh, I hope you guys managed to see that. I assume you managed to see that. This was supposed to be 14, and then that was supposed to be 14 as well. All right, now this 7, it's actually, when we say 14 divided by 7, it divided by 2, so it's gonna give us 7, and then we have x to the power of negative 10 over 3h to the power of 3 divided by 81. There we go, guys. I made a mistake here. I hope you managed to see it earlier. Let me just go back and see whether it's mistake. Yes, the mistake that we made, it was here, guys. Okay, on the last term it was supposed to be 14 over 81. I hope you managed to see it, guys. If you managed to see it, you can also comment on the comment section. Right, forgive me, guys, I made a mistake. This is what I'm talking about. You have to be very careful when you do this type of problem. But anyway, now this is our f of x plus h. This is where our f of x plus h ends, guys. It is only 4 terms, but to be honest with you, you only need 3 terms in order for you to do this one. So let's see now what is the next step. So the next step, guys, the next step here is to substitute our f of x from here, all this here, guys, all this thing here, our f of x plus h, is to substitute it to our formula there. Okay, so we must be able to do that. So now, in order for you to do that, you must copy everything. We must copy all this f of x here, guys, all this f of x, and substitute it there. So I'm gonna let me see, open the space until here. All right, so let's go, guys, let's go. All right, remember this question is a bit long, guys. You have to be patient if you want to understand this one. F of x prime, and then we say limit h approaches 0. All right, so this is equal to, so let's draw our line there. Let's stop here. Yeah, let's stop there now, and let me just continue with the line here so that we don't get confused. Yeah, there we go. All right, so wherever there is f of x, we're gonna substitute with everything here, guys. Everything that you see here, that is your f of x. Okay, plus h. So f of x plus h is the one that I underline with the red line there underneath. So let's continue. So what do we have there? We're gonna have something like let me just write it. This might take long, guys. This will take long. So it's gonna be x to the power of negative 1 over 3 over 2, right? Minus x to the power of negative 4 over 3 divided by 6 multiplied by h. There we go. That is the second term. The third term is going to be plus. Now let's look at this. This is going to be x. All right, so it's going to be negative 7 over 3, and then we have h to the power of 2. All this is divided by 9, and then the last one, which is going to be 7, right? And then we have x to the power of negative 10 to the power of 3, and then we have h to the power of 3 divided by 81. All right, so this is f of x plus h. Now what is f of x on this equation here? Remember, guys, we simplify f of x. If you can go back, remember this one, the one that is simplified, which is gonna be half multiplied by x to the power of negative 1 over 3. That is our f of x. Please do not take the original equation, because the original equation or the original problem here on top, this one here, it was actually needed to be simplified. So we managed to simplify it to this one here that you see, and then we have to substitute that to the formula. So remember, now f of x, which is going to be minus, now this is our f of x here, so it's minus, so it's going to be minus 1 over 2. Don't forget, this minus is the one that you see on the formula, 1 over 2, and when we have x to the power of negative 1 over 3, and all this is divided by h, this h here. Guys, I know it's not easy to do this one without making no mistakes, so we have to be extra super careful. Okay, now if you've watched some of my videos, the previous videos, the part 1 to part 6, which is this one, you realize that I always say, when you come to this step here where you substitute your f of x plus h and f of x, there are like terms that are supposed to subtract each other, and those like terms, they should not have h with them. For example, the first term here, which is gonna be x to the power of negative 1 over 3 over 2, that's it. There's no f of h here, so meaning there's no h here, by the way, meaning it has to subtract with another like term like it. So the another like term like this one is the last term here on the numerator, which is half multiplied by x minus multiplied by x to the power of minus 1 over 3. It's the same as the first term here. So the first one is positive and the last one is negative, so they're gonna minus each other. As they minus each other, let's look at the second term. The second term, it has h there, and the third term also has h there. The fourth term has h there. So these ones, they cannot they don't have like terms, so they cannot subtract each other somehow. So from here we do what? We continue. So let's continue to the following step. So the following step, first of all, let's not forget to write f of x prime, and then we say limit h approaches 0. As long as you haven't substituted anything, guys, please do not forget to write that. It's very important. All right, so what are we going to be left with here? We're going to be left with negative x to the power of negative 4 over 3 divided by 6, that multiplied by h, right? And then we have plus, we have x to the power of negative 7 over 3 multiplied by h squared over 9, right? Minus 7, and then we have x to the power of negative 10, and then over 3 multiplied by h to the power of 3, all this divided by 81. All right, all this is divided by h. As you can see, the terms that are left here, they all have h, guys. If it so happens that you left with terms that don't have h, just know you made a mistake somewhere. Go back and double check your calculations. Probably made a mistake there somewhere, so go and double check. Now let me open more space, guys. More space. We need to open more space so that we can able to do this. All right. Now we know that f of x, what is it? F of x prime is gonna give us, so first of all here we need to take out the common factor. So what is our common factor here? Is h. If we take out h, we're gonna be left with x, and then to the power of -4 over 3 over 6. This h here is no longer there, it's outside, and then plus, oh, let's not forget this is negative, by the way, and plus, now we have x and -7 to the power -7 over 3, and then we multiply by h. Remember we had squared here, and then we know that it's no longer going to be squared, it's going to be h. All this divided by 9 minus we have 7, and then we have x to the power of -10 over 3. Now this is going to be h squared because we took out the common factor, which is h, and then we left with h squared over 81. All this is divided by h. Alright, so this h and that h is going to give us 1, and let's not forget to write limit h is approaching 0. Right, so from here, guys, we write f of x prime. Now all I can say is you drop the limit and h approaching 0, because now it's time for you to substitute 0 wherever there is h. So you're gonna be left with negative x, right, to the power of -4 divided by 3 over 6, right? So this is the one, plus x to the power of -7 divided by 3 to the power of -7 divided by 3 h. But what is our h? Our h, remember, is approaching 0, so we substitute 0 divided by 9, and then the last term, which is going to be -7, and then we have x to the power of -10 divided by 3. But this time around we have h. What is our h? Remember, h is approaching 0, so there's going to be 0 squared over 81. All right, so when it's like that, let's just create another space, guys. This one is long. This one is very long, but it's all right, guys. It's all right. We needed to know this question here. All right, so these are two terms here. They are multiplying by 0, so they're gonna give us 0. So you're gonna be left with negative x to the power of -4 over 3 divided by 6. So this is your answer, but in most cases they suggest that you should leave your answers in surd form, or you must leave them in a positive exponent. So what we have to do now, we have to take this numerator to the denominator. So let's do that. So if we say prime f of x, and then we can say, remember this is -1, let's just make it -1, and then we say 6, and then we can say x to the power of +4 over 3. Remember, when we take this base to the denominator, the exponents, as you can see, they will have to change the sign. It's going to be 4 over 3 from -4 over 3. Now remember, in surd form, f of x prime, in surd form is going to be -1, and then we can say over, and then we have 6, and then we can say this is cube root. Remember, let me try to erase this. I didn't write it right. Let's try to write it in a right way. Cubed root, and then we have x to the power of 4. Remember, if you see an exponent in a fraction, the denominator of that fraction is the root, and then the numerator is the power. So this is how you change it, guys. So this is our final answer when we differentiate from the first principle. As you can see, this very easy for us to make a lot of mistake. I made a mistake on that part where I multiplied by 14, where I got 7. I wrote 7 instead of 14. So be very careful, guys, because I already done this on the paper. So when I check, I realized this was supposed to be 7. But anyway, I hope you guys understood. If it so happened that you didn't understand, please do not forget to comment on the comment section, and try to ask questions wherever you don't understand. But if you did understand and you like this video, don't forget to like it and comment and say whether it was useful and where did it help you. And also you can share this video to your friends. And thank you very much, guys, for watching. Don't forget that at the end of this video there is a playlist. Go and watch that playlist if you want to understand these videos much better in a sequence form. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Till next time, cheers.